Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel, Eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you a review of the Under the Oak Tarot. Okay guys, so I wanted to do this review for various reasons, and one of those reasons was because I recently watched Libby from Crescent Moon. I'll leave their channel down below, and they were talking about providing opinions on decks that weren't very positive, or providing dislikes about decks in their channel. And I thought that was pretty interesting because you don't have to like a tarot. You don't have to use a tarot if you don't want to. Sometimes, for example, with this tarot, I have bought the tarot because the art just checks all of my my boxes. And when I go and use it, it just doesn't resonate with me. And I have a sort of issue with the structure or the imagery in the deck. And that is totally okay. I don't see the reason why some people are feeling offended by difference of opinion, at least in something like tarot that has become such a consumerist sort of thing now. And I'm thankful for it, by the way, because we have so many options for tarot right now. It's amazing. It's quite the experience. And yes, it can be a little overwhelming, especially because there are decks out there that I still don't have that I would like, and I'm just not able to justify them because they're expensive, or it's just there isn't a room for them right now in my life. But that being said, Under the Oak Tarot, I actually bought. It's a mass market deck by Los Carvel. The artist is, I believe it's pronounced Offrid, like the French, and the writer of the guidebook is Estrella del Mel. Not very sure if that's exactly how you pronounce their names. They sound French to me, but both the artist and the writer are Italian. And the first thing that I'm going to say about this tarot is that the art is completely gorgeous. It is beautiful. It has an elegant aesthetic, and it's colorful, and it's also very fantastical and very in line with what I like, actually. If I keep looking now, it's because I have my notes with me. So that was the main reason why I bought the tarot. Even though, and I will talk about this a little later, the court cards for the sword suit were not resonating with me. I thought, well, maybe I should just give it a chance, and that's the only reason why. And because it's a mass market deck, and it was actually really cheap in Amazon. So I said, why not? Let's give it a chance. And yeah, no, so I don't have any complaints about the art. The art is beautiful. There are some cards and I'll talk about those cards later. There are some cards in this deck that are just amazing. And I would like to have the originals on my walls, but again, that's probably never going to happen because they're probably very expensive, and I can't really afford artwork that expensive right now for me, or for us, for my husband and me to have at home. But that is okay. And the other thing, so I'm gonna give you the pros. The pros for the deck. It's cheaper. It's accessible. The art is beautiful. The cardstock for the deck is actually amazing. This new cardstock by Los Carvel is just wonderful. It is plasticky, but as you guys can see, it bends enough for it to be so that we can riffle shuffle it. Maybe I'll show you down here. Let's see. Here we have the gorgeous backs of the tarot. But yeah, as you guys can see, it bends and it's very thick. The cardstock is thick. And this one actually is gilded in silver, which is not my preferred thing when it comes to tarots, because I don't know if you guys can see it, but it does chip off. See? The cards are chipping off. But yeah, if you like using reversals, this is not a reversible back, as you guys can see, since we have this stag over here and this elevated, more guardian of the forest sort of being over here on this side. So, and also, I don't know if you guys can see, but we have a flower here, a candle here, a crystal here, sorry, and a rune here. Those are actually the suits, which, by the way, the suits are called wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, but the wands are candles, the cups are flowers, the pentacles are crystals, and the swords are runes. Now, when I bought the tarot, I thought that I was going to be able to work with the sword suit being runes, because I thought it was going to be a challenge for me, and which in hindsight, in retrospect, it was probably a bad idea, because the swords are my favorite suit, and I don't have any knowledge of runes. Other than very basic knowledge, I know that that's what the Celtic used to use as their writing system. But other than that, I have never explored divination with runes, so I'm not really sure. So yes, I will talk a little bit more about that later as well. Some of the cons for this deck is that we are going to see imagery in some of the cards that I'm going to show you guys that are not in line with the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition or the Todd tradition, and even numerologically it doesn't work. So yes, unfortunately, ooh, I'm sorry guys, I'm still recovering from this cold, and I thought I wasn't going to cough, but I am keeping myself hydrated, and let's see if I can avoid doing that, because that is not appealing. So I was saying, one of the cons of this deck is some of the depictions are not aligning with the structure of tarot in any of the three main schools of tarot that I have knowledge of. Now, I'm not really sure about the Marseille, but as I understand, Marseille is read more numerologically, and and if that's the case, then even numerologically, this deck doesn't make sense for some of the depictions. I will show you some of those depictions. Now, usually when I do these reviews, I will do a full flip through of the deck, but I'm not going to do that for various reasons. It became very obvious that I was having a problem with going through the whole deck, and just having a very adverse reaction to some of the depictions. Not the art. Like I said, the art is beautiful and it's great, but it deviates so much from an understanding of tarot that it wasn't challenging me, it was confusing me. So when I did use this tarot for my daily draw practice, I became very blocked. There was a blockage in the with me in the interpretation of these cards. Some of these cards, not all of them. When I was working with this deck for my daily draw, I had to just turn on my intuitive powers on. I don't know why suddenly I have intuitive powers. And it was better to read the card with what the scene was transmitting for me versus using the structure of tarot. So, was I able to work with this deck? Yes. Was I able to read for others with this deck? No. I wouldn't read for others with this deck because I do not want to seem or get confused, like very confused, during a reading for another person, and that's not professional. That's not going to be good, and I do not want to pull out the guidebook. Which brings me to my other point. Even if I did pull out the guidebook for the card that I'm confused by, the guidebook even confuses you further. I will give you an example of that a little later, but the artist and the writer have very basic knowledge of the tarot structure, so they were able to illustrate and write about a card well, but for most of the cards, it seemed like they wanted to create their own thing, which is probably fine, I want to say. But then I think that somewhere in the guidebook there should be a little blurb that says that they wanted to create something else from the regular structure of tarot. But it's just confusing. I'll show you guys a little later. So yes, unfortunately, some of the knowledge of the tarot in the guidebook and in the depictions didn't align with what they were depicting and what was written about the card. I'll give you an example of that a little later, which is unfortunate because, again, this tarot is incredibly beautiful, and it's just, if I'm not able to use a deck for myself or for others successfully, then I will not keep this deck. The other con about this deck is that, well, it's not a con, it's just one of the resolutions or the actions that I'm going to take with this deck is that I'm just going to donate it to my local bookstore. They do take tarot decks, and they give you credit so that you can buy books and other things that they sell. It's amazing. I love. I used to work there, but yes. So I will not be keeping this tarot. I will pass it on to somebody else, and yeah. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the cards in the tarot so that you can actually see the artwork, and so that you can see some of my complaints with it, and actually some of the successes that these people, both of Ofrid and Strega, had with the tarot. Because, I mean, it's not all black and white. There can be gray too. So let me flip this over here, and let's start with the Fool. The whole premise of this deck is that we have this blind young woman following along the tarot. It's funny that it's giving me a thumbs down now, because yes, I this was not the tarot for me. But as you guys can see, this Fool is beautiful. The bright colors, even in this very dark sun over here, it just totally works out for me. And to be perfectly honest, I think this is the first time that I see a blind person being represented on a tarot deck, and especially through all of the cards. Well, most of the cards. But we know that it's this little girl who is going from one card to the other and experiencing what the card is giving to her. So it's a little like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and I'm probably not going to get tired of bringing Alice in most of my videos, but that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like she's going from one character to another, and at least this little girl over here is learning something. And is it all properly structured for the tarot? No. But she is learning something, and that's great. We're following a storyline in the tarot. But as you can see, this image specifically is very Rider-Waite-Smith inspired. We have this young woman with this spectral dog. I think this is supposed to be a Patfoot, but I am uncertain. It was just, when I read the guidebook, it just said it was a dog spirit. Okay, I think I'm gonna have my husband edit these parts out. Okay, guys, so hopefully my husband was able to edit that part of the video out, because like I said, I'm still recovering from a cold, and it's going away, but it's taking a little while to go away. So moving on to the Empress. To me, this is not an Empress card. The image is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous Sphinx. I really enjoy looking at this image, but this reads more like a strength card to me, and Sphinxes are not symbols of fertility. They're not symbols of beauty. They're not symbols of anything that I'm able to relate to the Empress. Actually, the guidebook does talk about her being this entity of fertility and reflecting the meter over here in the background. But first of all, this is almost a silhouette, and you're not able to really tell that it is actually the meter over here. For all I know, this could also be Artemis or Nike or Persephone or even Aphrodite. Well, maybe not Aphrodite. I don't. There's no depiction of Aphrodite that doesn't have her on a gown, all like covering all her legs to the ground. Aphrodite wouldn't be this statue over here. But as in any case, this doesn't read like Empress energy to me. Even the background with this massive tree just providing this sort of shade, and this block of the sun doesn't align really well with the Empress. Even though greenery and trees and flowers, it should align very well with the Empress card, but it just doesn't work for me, guys. So yeah, that for the Empress. And okay, so here we have the actual strength card, and isn't this card just so amazing? This would have gone into my favorite depictions of the strength card if I would have kept this deck in my collection. This is just such an image of compassion and sympathy, and you can see that this young woman has tamed this monster. You can see that this young woman has accepted this beastly being, and this beastly being has accepted this young woman. Love the fact that they are resting against the tree, especially this tree that looks to be in autumn. I love the greenery around this very soft, grassy, flowery sort of place that they are. It's giving me very positive strength vibes, and I really enjoy it. there's a lot of this that I very much like, and it is completely successful being the strength card, and especially the strength card for this deck. There is a message here that I like, that you don't have to see someone to accept them. And that seems incredibly, well, philosophical to me, but also spiritual. And yeah, it's unfortunate that I won't be able to use this for my favorite depictions of the strength card. But again, I'm showing it here, and I can tell you guys that this is amazing. I would have this somewhere at my house because it's just so good. Such a good representation. It's completely vibing with me. I really enjoy looking at this. It makes me feel very calm. It makes me feel very very powerful in this very passive image, in this very passive depiction of this strength card. And I think it works. It works out well. And here we have another one of my favorite cards in the deck, and it's this moon card. This is an excellent moon card. This would also have made an appearance in my favorite depictions of the moon card if I would have kept this deck. Unfortunately, I will be getting rid of this, but I really want to keep these two cards, but I won't do that to the person who will want to use this tarot. I won't do that to them. I will not keep these two cards away from them. These two rabbits around this cup and around this moth, the crescent moon having a big eye, it just speaks to me about not only divination, and it also speaks to me about how the moon is able to see different cycles when the moon is in the sky, and see different cycles from us as well. Because if you think about it, the at one point with the moon in its cycles, it looks like an eye that's closing slowly, that's blinking slowly and closing itself down until we get to the full moon. I mean, the new moon. And it's a really good metaphor. I enjoy it. The fact that we have rabbits here instead of canines. Canines, it's my preference, but rabbits work as well. They remind me of the Japanese Inaba rabbit on the moon. The Japanese believe that there is a huge rabbit in the moon hammering mochi in up there. So it just makes me really happy. This moon card makes me really happy. Usually the moon card makes me very reflective. It allows me to be reflective, but this moon card makes me really happy. And it also obviously makes me reflective because we're seeing here elements of reflection that I like to see in the moon. So, and this sort of burst of energy coming out of this cup and into the night. It's as if they're also practicing spellcraft, and I really enjoy that. These are obviously not normal rabbits. And that's also pretty cool. I like how open this moon looks. That reminds me more of the taut depiction of the moon. And it just works for me. I really like it. But let's move on because I can talk about this a lot. So here's another one of the cards that I really like, and it's the Judgment card. I really enjoy a judgment that is depicted differently, especially as an awakening, like this one. This one actually seems like she's about to awake versus in the process of awakening, but it also works out for me. It's very exciting to see something different with the Judgment card that actually works and aligns with how I read the Judgment card. I really don't like Judgment cards that have those dead zombies coming out of the coffins in the water, and or even worse, when the souls are being sucked into the the angel or the trumpet, yeah. I think that part of my dislike of that representation of the Judgment card is because it's very rooted in Catholicism, and I grew up with Catholicism, and it's very hard to let go. But I do my best every day, and I don't want to get rid of this Judgment card depiction, but hey, it is what it is. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this one actually works. This image doesn't work. I was very happy to see this. It almost feels like a gathering for the awakening of this young woman. So it's perfect. Very much enjoy this. Okay. So I am going to put all of the aces over here. Hopefully we can see them all. Okay, let's see. So these are all of the aces. And as you guys can see, this ace is very much Rider-Waite-Smith, and even though we have an actual fountain or goblet, I'm not really sure. I think it's a fountain because it's made out of stone. The suit is actually represented with flowers. You can see the flowers over here. I don't think that I have a problem with any of these aces. It makes sense to me that, let me see if I can move these. There we go, so that they're all in frame. Even this ace over here, this ace of swords with this stone, this carved stone over here, I actually really like, and it does resonate well with me. It is very confusing because, as you guys can see, the sword is floating in the water, and it's not really active in any way. It's just floating. It's very passive, and I think that's one of the issues I have with the with this Ace of Swords. It's passive, and the Suit of Air should be more active. I think that it would have been better if we had seen the sword tapped into the stone and making it glow. That would have been better, I think. And I actually don't have any issues with the wands being candles. It makes sense. They're just sticks with fire on the top, so it works well for the wands. And also, I very much like crystals or stones for the pentacle suit. That also aligns very well. It's very earthy. It feels very earthy. And I like the fact that the pentacle suit, you guys are going to see the crystals actually glow. And that's good. There should be some energy that is coming from the earth. And I like it. But yeah, so these are the aces. Again, gorgeous illustrations. I have a lot of problems with this one. But these three are actually pretty good. I really like them. But moving on. Here is where I'm going to give you guys an example of a card that unfortunately doesn't make sense. And here's a Five of Pentacles. So, this is not a Rider-Waite-Smith depiction of the Five of Pentacles. This is not a taut depiction of the Five of Pentacles. And it's definitely not a Marseille depiction of the Five of Pentacles. This is not even something that I would use to depict the Five of Pentacles numerologically, because honestly, it looks like they're having a really good time, and it looks like they're doing something together. This seems more a collaborative effort and teamwork, more like a Three of Pentacles than what a Five of Pentacles should be. there is no worry here. There is no poverty here. There is no coolness to this. Maybe coldness would be the best word. There is no sense of poor decision making, which is one of the things that I like to attribute to the Five of Pentacles. It's poor decision making. Honestly, they look like they're having a really good time creating these sort of crystals. The image is gorgeous, but even though the image is gorgeous, it just doesn't exemplify what the Five of Pentacles is. And so that I can give you guys an example of the guidebook and what it says about and why it's confusing, I will read you what it says about the Five of Pentacles. It says, there are difficulties in work and loneliness in friendships. Neither of these creatures look lonely or in difficulty with friendship. They're working together. Perfection is a concept that remains elusive in our world. It encompasses not only the bright days, but also those moments of darkness, regrets, and remorse. There is no remorse. There is no darkness. They don't seem regretful in any way. The key to embracing it is transformation. So there's that transformation there for the five. 5 is the number of change. But again, there is no transformation being depicted here. Okay, maybe in the creation of these crystals, but I think that's stretching it too far. Just like the Galtzagoryak. So these creatures are called Galtzagoryaks. They're just fairy mice. That's what they are. But I am actually very grateful that I was provided the name for these creatures, because I had no idea that the fairy mice were called Galtzagoryak by the Basque. So great, I learned something. But moving on, it says we should embrace light over darkness, creation over apathy, harmony over chaos. Which is great, but again, not the message of the Five of Pentacles. And even though they do seem to be embracing light, creation over apathy in this depiction, it's still stretching it a lot for me. And this doesn't happen with just this depiction of the Five of Pentacles. This happens for a lot of the cards in the deck, and that's why I'm not doing a flip through, because I would probably talk about every single one of these cards and it will probably be a 2 or 3 hour video, and I don't have time for that. But I will move on and I will complain about the 3 and 6 of Swords, because this is not a depiction of sorrow or heartbreak. And this is not a depiction of travel or new experiences or going somewhere and learning something. So I can't even read this numerologically, because there's no growth here, and there's no science happening here either. So I cannot believe that I'm complaining about this, but where is the heartbreak and where is the gondola person rowing the boat? It's and I usually don't like heartbreak or that sense of travel that we get from the heartbreak from the 3 of Swords and sense of travel from the 6 of Swords. But I find myself actually asking for it, because these depictions are very confusing. And again, if you read the guidebook, it doesn't help, unfortunately. So, yes. I think I'm gonna find a way to complain about the 3, the 6, and the 10 of swords in probably all of my videos. But yes, so moving on. I will say that I actually like the depictions of the 9 and the 10s. These are the 9s. And even though this 9 of Pentacles doesn't really align with the 9 of Pentacles usual depiction, it still works for me for various reasons. If we view these numerologically, it feels like the young woman is almost done with her experience and with her learning of the suit, and that's why they work for me. Do I want to see something better for the 9 of Pentacles? Yes, definitely I do. Do I want to see something that is more relatable in the 9 of Wands? Yes, definitely. And even though we are not seeing the usual depiction of happiness here, we see a reflection of happiness in this, I want to say fountain, or I'm going to call it a fountain. And this is actually a normal depiction of the 9 of Swords. But again, if the runes here mean anything, I have no idea what that is. And they didn't go over the meaning of the runes in the guidebook either. So these are beautiful. These are beautiful representations of the 9s. They sort of kind of work for me. They actually do work for me. I really like this. But I know that some people are going to have some issues with reading these cards using the structure of tarot. So moving on to the 10s, we actually see completion on the 10s, which I very much like. It aligns better with the numerological meaning of the suits. And again, I really like it. And as you can see, this young woman has completed her journey through the pips and has come to the 10 completely realized. And I very much enjoy that. Can you see the, again, the structure meaning of the tarot as is known from the Rider-Waite-Smith or the Tot or the Marseille? No. You can't. But again, I really enjoy this. This actually shows completion to me. So, and the art is just gorgeous on these. I mean, the colors alone, it's just beautiful. So, for the last of the cards that I'm going to talk about, they are going to be the court cards from sorry guys, from the Suit of Swords. I can't even tell you guys that these are a great representation of the court cards from the sword suit, because they are not. Even though these are Celtic gods or Celtic creatures, you can obviously, this is Odin. I don't know if you guys can see him, and I believe this is the serpent, which I am blanking on the name. No, it's not Yggdrasil. That's the name of the tree. But it doesn't really matter who they are, because they seem dormant. They seem dormant, and I just don't associate or relate dormant states in any of the meaning of the swords, let alone the court cards. The most active of the court cards are the swords. Well, maybe probably the ones, but so the issue that I have is that the swords are my favorite suit, and this depiction of the court cards, especially for the Knight of Swords, which is the card that I identify with in the tarot, it just doesn't work for me. This bothered me a lot, and when I thankfully I didn't get any of these cards when I was doing daily draws for myself. When I was using this deck, I didn't get any of the court cards, and I'm thankful for that, because I would have had a really hard time even beginning to understand the card and then relating it to what my meaning of the cards are, because there's I like to see more dynamic scenes for the court cards. And I'm not saying that the other court cards were not. Actually, the other court cards were very beautiful, and they were depicted very well, or for some of them, and some of them were just stretching it for what they were being depicted. But I don't have a problem with the art, except for these cards. Yeah, I think that the main reason why I'm getting rid of these cards, it's these court cards over here. They just did not work for me at all, and I don't like them. I really don't like them. And when you read the guidebook and you find out who these gods or who the and creature is, it would have made sense if they were being depicted as the actual god or creature. But that didn't happen. So, yeah. I wish I had at least something good to say about these. I like the colors. For these court cards, the colors actually align very well with the energy of the person on the court. But unfortunately, there is not a person being depicted here. It's just a glowing stone. And yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it, guys. I don't like it. But that is all for today, guys, because if I go through the whole deck, it'll take me longer. And I should save my voice, because I'm still recovering from that cold, and it was probably not a good idea to make this video, but I still did it because I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to complain a little for today. But hopefully this video gives you guys a better understanding of the reasons why I'm passing on this tarot to somebody else who would actually enjoy the tarot. So I guess, who is this tarot for? If I'm going to answer that question, I think I'm going to give you guys 3 answers. This is definitely a tarot for collections. The art alone, for collectors, the art alone on the depiction of these cards is so beautiful. I can definitely see collectors having these in their collections and being very happy with them, because the art is gorgeous. The art is beautiful. No complaints about the art. Complaints about the depictions, but not the art. The art is gorgeous. The other person who would benefit from using this tarot is probably going to be storyteller readers. Or actually writers who use tarot for their practice. This would be a great tarot for them, because the scenes on the cards, they brand themselves very well for storytelling. Actually, that being said, then probably the third person who would use this deck would be solely intuitive readers that don't really concern themselves with the structure of tarot. This would be great for them. They haven't enough on the card being depicted to pull from, that they will be able to have a successful reading. That's what I ended up doing when I was doing daily draws with this tarot. Just looking at the scene and going from there, I had to completely, well, not completely for all of the cards, but for some of the cards, I had to completely throw away the structure and understanding that I have a tarot so that I would be able to actually have a daily draw, a successful daily draw that day. We should put it that day. But as in any case, let me know in the comments below what you think about the tarot, guys. I'll see you on my next one. Bye. I'll complain more if I keep going. But thank you, guys. Bye-bye.